Welcome everybody. We are going to do a recap of Piper Rockelle and her mom, Tiffany Smith. They are basically the main subjects or the main stars in this documentary. This is Bad Influence, the dark side of kid-fluencing, like kid influencing. Basically, Piper was the star of her YouTube channel. She had this squad of kids around her, and all of them had their own YouTube channels as well. And Tiffany, her mother, basically told them what to do, how to do it, where to do it, and completely ran their lives, ran their accounts, ran their money, and controlled everything. And her, like, half her age boyfriend, Hunter, was the director and the editor and the filming. He was everything. He went and did everything Tiffany said. And so I'm going to start at the beginning and tell you who Piper was, who her mom was, how this got started, and kind of take you through what exactly went on and where we are today. So bear with me. It's been a long day at work, but I wanted to get on with you guys and chat. So we're going to get started. I actually have, oh my gosh, like 8 pages of notes on this one. I've just been kind of looking through everything for the last couple weeks and trying to put together the storyline because there is a lot to this. I'm still not done. There's been a lot of recent updates that I want to look into with these kids, but hopefully I will get all those videos out in the next little while. If you haven't, make sure you click the plus sign, give me a follow because I'm definitely going to be updating. And if you haven't yet, go follow me on my YouTube channel, which is The Recap with Julie. The link's in my bio. All right, let's go. So Piper, actually, let me put up a different picture here. I'm going to show you a pic of Piper and her mom here. So let's go with this guy for now. All right, so this is when Piper was younger, obviously. So this is Tiffany, her mom, and this is Piper. Now, Piper has always loved the attention and the limelight. She's always been kind of this bigger than life personality, and her mom encouraged that. And any mom would, right? Her mom knew that this was her thing and basically, like I said, encouraged it. So when Tiffany was only 26 years old, she was living in Georgia. It was 2007. She got pregnant with Piper. Piper's dad didn't stick around. She ended up being a single parent right from the get-go. He was not there. He left when she was expecting and basically didn't come back. There was apparently a reconnection just years ago on Piper's YouTube channel where she allegedly meets this dad and it got millions of views. But after watching the documentary, I have to question, was that really her dad? Because Hunter played her brother on that YouTube channel and he definitely was not her brother. He was sleeping with her mother. So it was just all acting, and it makes me think that that was as well. But anyway, we'll get to all of that in a sec. So Piper's born in 2007. They're living in Georgia. And in the new documentary that is out now, Piper's aunt, so Tiffany's sister, Patience, is married. Her wife had 2 children, Claire and, oh my gosh, Reese, right guys? Claire and Reese. Anyway, so they are like half cousins, or step cousins, I should say, to Piper. Patience, her sister, and Tiffany didn't really talk for a long time. Patience said when her parents got divorced, when Tiffany's parents got divorced, things were just really bad, and Tiffany kind of went her own way. There was a lot of, bad blood, and they just kind of grew apart. So when Piper was 3 years old, she won her first beauty pageant competition. 3 years old. So right from being a toddler, Tiffany had her in these beauty pageants, and Piper loved it, and she did really well. She loved the spotlight. She loved dressing up. She loved showcasing herself and, acting and putting on, a big show for everyone. It was just her thing. So her mom encouraged that. Piper ended up loving it, and Tiffany saw this and started looking into other avenues to basically push Piper, unfortunately. And I'm guessing at first, for Tiffany, it was probably doing it for Piper, like knowing Piper enjoyed this and that she thrived on this and she was good doing it. So I think she probably encouraged it, but I think it did end up being all about the money, and Piper took a backseat, in my opinion, to her mother's dreams and wishes and the money train, right? So she won her first pageant when she was 3. At 8 years old, oh, sorry, first she goes on Musical.ly. If you remember that app, it was basically TikTok before we had TikTok. So Musical.ly was like a lip syncing app, and it was super popular with all the kids. Well, Piper got on that, her mom put her on that, and it went crazy. Now, there was something with Musical.ly that you could post content or something like that when you were young, but you had to be something like 16 or 18 in order, I think 18 in order to like watch videos or something. Like, it's weird. So like kids could post, or no, wait, am I thinking of the other one that she's on, you guys? I think I'm squirreling. Maybe it wasn't Musical.ly. It's the new one that she's on, isn't it? That's what it is. It's Brand Army. It's the one she's still on. You have to be 18 to interact on there, but you can post when you're a kid. There we go. Sorry, getting things mixed up. Musical.ly was the one that all the kids were on. They were posting, they were on there. She ended up getting crowned on there, which is like, you know, being huge on the app. And, you know, it's a really big feat when you get crowned. But somebody had looked into like her follower count, and unfortunately, the majority of her followers would be men. And that's what happens with a lot of these kids that have their own channels and these family vloggers with children. The majority of their followers are men, and we all know why these men are watching these kids, right? Like it is not good, to say the least. So she does her Musical.ly thing. She goes huge on there. Her mom's loving it. She's loving it. Her mom starts her YouTube channel, and that is the beginning of the end, in my opinion, for this family, for this mother and daughter. So she gets a YouTube channel. She's only 8 years old at this time. And the YouTube channel immediately starts taking off. It took her a year and a half on YouTube to hit 1 million followers. A year and a half. So by the time she was almost 10 years old, she had 1 million followers. And you know who the majority of those followers was. In particular, if you watch the documentary, one of those followers was named Megan. And it was a man that went by Megan and pretended he was a young girl. Tiffany knew the real truth, knew that it was a man. And he would watch all of Piper's videos, comment on everything, ask her to like call him, ask her to send him things, ask her to do certain videos, like just totally inappropriate stuff. But when she did this, she would get crazy amounts of gifts and items and things. So she would get like, and you name it, she was getting it. And her mother knew all of this. Now, one of the friends that she had in the squad alleges that when she was younger, she went to the post office with Tiffany, and Tiffany was mailing a pair of Piper's underwear to a male follower. And the friend, if you watch the documentary, you'll know who I'm talking about. The friend basically asked her, why are you sending underwear to this man? And she was like, oh, sometimes they like the smell of kids or something like that. Like, gross. Like, just so disturbing, you guys. So this is what Tiffany was dealing with. She would do anything for the money. She would sell her daughter off and provide whatever these disgusting, inappropriate men wanted to see and hear and do. She would get Piper to do it, and she would gain something from it. Anyway. Okay. We might jump around a little bit, guys, because I have certain things that I want to fill you in on, but just try and follow along because there's a lot. In 2017, Piper gets her big break. So she's 10 years old. She gets cast on Dance Twins with her mom. So her mom and her go on Dance Twins. And let me get the picture to show you guys. Where's her Dance Twins? This one. So this is them in one of the scenes. Okay, so Piper and her mom get on the show, Dance Twins. Once she's on the show, of course, her YouTube channel takes off even more, and it jumps her career. Everybody's now watching her. They know who she is. She's getting this following, and you know, just doing really well, and her mom's loving it. So her mom's extremely invested in this, as you can imagine. At this point, Tiffany wants more YouTube content because she's taking off on this show. She's being known more. So she's pushing for more videos. So around this time, she asks Corinne Here's her friend Corinne. She asks Corinne to audition as a backup dancer for her for the Dance Twins TV show. So Corinne and her hit it off. Tiffany, who, like I said, wants to start doing a lot more on YouTube, decides to start asking Corinne over for like sleepovers, hangouts, all this stuff. And Corinne's mom said that at this time, Tiffany starts recording videos of the two girls. And Corinne's mom didn't know much about this. Not many people did, right, at this time. So she's not having an issue with it because she's a little rock star too. She wants to be, you know, famous one day. And so Tiffany's filming all this stuff, putting it on YouTube and getting all the money from it. And I think it was one of their very first videos that gets posted, goes viral. Like it's over 1 million views for it. It was called Corinne and Piper at the Pumpkin Patch, and it got over 1 million views. Like kids on YouTube, unfortunately, get a huge following, and yeah, not good. So around this same time, Piper's 10 years old. Like I said, she moves to LA with her mom. So she leaves Georgia, packs up her life, and moves to LA because they want to make it big. They had this break on the TV show, and now they just want to, you know, take it as far as they can. And she did well. So Piper actually gets recruited for this YouTube channel. It is called Brat. I'm too old to know what that was, but basically it's like the Disney Channel for kids, but on YouTube. Jonna, how are you, sweetheart? So she gets hired on this show called Manny, which makes me think of the Manny on It Ends With Us. But anyway, it's called Manny, and it's the same premise. It is a male nanny, and in the show, Piper plays this kind of preppy character, and she meets at the time, let me put up my next pic here. She meets Soph. There we go. So this is Sophie. She meets Sophie on the show because Sophie was just supposed to play this kind of short role as this goth kid, but she ends up becoming like a fan favorite on the YouTube channel, and they keep her on. So these two immediately connect. There's just something between the two of them. They become instant friends, and Tiffany takes full advantage. So Tiffany, of course, at this time, ends up recruiting Soph for the YouTube channel as well, and they start making all these videos together, and they do really well, just like all the videos, right? Just like everything that's gone down. At this point, they're doing these YouTube shows. They're doing their own YouTube channel. They're becoming very popular. Everyone knows kind of on YouTube, in the YouTube world, who Piper is, and she's like the star of this show. So Soph's mom and Soph didn't really have a good feeling about Tiffany at this time. Sophie actually basically thought something was up with Tiffany's mom, that she was kind of unstable and didn't have a good feeling about it, but they loved Piper. So Piper really connected with Soph's mom, and they became really close, and she kind of acted like, you know, it was her own mom because her mom wasn't very motherly apparently. And so they kind of got this bond or this connection, right? So this is all happening, like I said, in 2017 when Piper's just 10 years old. In 2000, actually, let's not go to there yet. Let's go to 2018. So in 2018, they're in a new season. They're on the season, and Tiffany gets mad and freaks out during a YouTube taping of the show because she realizes that Piper isn't the main character in this show anymore, that she's not getting as many lines, that another character's getting more lines, and she loses it. So she flips out and she says, "You're not going to cut my daughter. She created this show. She made it what it is, yada, yada, yada." And then she looks at Sophie and she's like, "We're out of here. Sophie, you're coming too." And Sophie is trying to make it big in this world, and she's like, "I'm not leaving." So they cut her out. So basically Piper wasn't allowed to hang out with Sophie anymore. She was just done. They basically said, like, "You're dead to us because you're not going to follow suit, and peace out like we want to." So that's kind of the end of that friendship at that time. So this is, again, 2018. Now, they've been living in LA, but they still visit Georgia. Like, they go back, they have family there, they have, you know, connections. So they go back frequently, and in one visit, Tiffany, the mom, reconnects with her sister Patience. And again, Patience is married and has two stepdaughters. So her wife has 2 children from a previous marriage. Now, the 2 daughters, Claire and Reese, are both young, But they end up idolizing Piper because they watch YouTube and they know everything that Piper's managing and they're really impressed. So they want to be a part of Piper's world. So when she comes to visit, they're like awestruck and they kind of want to be a part of it. So they kind of, not so much Reese at the beginning, but Claire ends up basically being in some of the videos and stuff like that. Like just taping stuff, loving her whenever she's home in Georgia. So that kind of relationship gets a little mended and they start kind of reconnecting or whatever. Now, what ends up happening at this point is Reese is younger, so she idolizes her, but she's too young to really be involved in this. So Claire, in my opinion, starts getting the idea that this is what she wants to do. She wants to be able to do what her cousin's doing. So I just think as time goes on, and as soon as Tiffany reached out, she jumped at the opportunity. But for now, she's still not, involved in the squad yet. She's still in Georgia. So in 2018, it's Sawyer's first time doing a video with Piper. Let me just make this a bit bigger, guys, so everybody knows what we're chatting about when they come in. There we go. So in 2018, it's Sawyer's first time making a video with Piper as well. So he had his own YouTube channel. I think he started it when he was like 9 years old. He was building it on his own. I think he was like gaming and stuff on there. Super cute kid, very personable. So he was getting a good audience. Tiffany reaches out to him, asks him if he wants to do some videos, and he starts recording videos with Piper, and they do well. And he gets recognition, he gets some more followers from it. So he's like, this is great. Like it's a win-win. So they kind of rope in Sawyer, unfortunately. Now, around this time, Tiffany comes up with this great idea that she wants basically to replicate the Friends TV show. She wants this group of people who are all connected and filming this YouTube content, and they were all friends, and she wants them all to revolve around Piper. So she wants Piper to be the star and then have all these friends kind of feeding off of Piper. And that's what she made happen. So she recruits Sawyer. At the time, this was 2008. So she recruits Piper. She calls Corinne's mother. So Corinne, if you recall, was the young girl that she asked to audition for Dance Twins with her. So she calls Corinne's mom, apologizes for ditching Corinne, and asks her to be a part of the squad. And Corinne is excited about it, and her mom says yes. She also gets Sophie back. So she apologizes to Sophie, gets Sophie back. And so now she's got Sawyer, Sophie, and Corinne all on board. And then she reaches out and she gets... and I want to tell you the ages, too, of these kids in 2018. So when this squad gets going in 2018, we have got Piper, of course, who's 11. We've got Corinne, who's 11 as well. Sawyer is a year older. He's 12. Soph is 11. Hayden gets recruited. He's 11 years old. Emily gets recruited. She's 10. She's just 10. Gavin gets recruited. He's 11, and we got a lot to talk about with Gavin, unfortunately, with Tiffany. And Simone gets added, and she's older too. She's the same age as Sawyer. She is 12 at the time. Now, Piper is the center. She's the star. And then she's got like these backup supporters who are going to be in the videos with her, but she's the star, right? She's the main thing here. This is what Tiffany has created. It's Tiffany's baby, and Tiffany is who gets to say what. Piper, again, in a year and a half, hits 1 million. She's got a huge following. So all these kids are like jumping at the chance to work with her on YouTube and get their own channels blown up. But what Tiffany decides to do at this time is she wants all of these kids to give over control of their own YouTube channels so that they can post on it. And when I say they, I'm talking about Hunter. Now, I can't remember what year Hunter started in with her. Let me see if I wrote it down. I don't think I had it written down, guys. And if you know what year Hunter started doing films with them, drop it in the comments, guys. I'll tell you who Hunter is in just one sec. I just want to know what, I think it might have been, was it 2017, guys? I feel like it was 2017. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think it was 2017. Okay, so Hunter Hill is like a 19-year-old at that time, I believe. He is an influencer. He's, you know, posting stuff on YouTube. Tiffany sees him, likes his look. She recruits him and says, I want you to come and film with us, and you're going to play Piper's brother. So she gets Hunter to start doing all these videos with Piper, and he plays the brother. So Piper and him get this cute relationship on set. You know, oh, it's my brother Hunter. Look at our great relationship. All fake. All a gazillion, 1,000% fake. Meanwhile, Tiffany does whatever Tiffany does and ends up, in my opinion, taking advantage of this young kid. And they start a relationship. So I'm going to introduce you guys to another person right now. So let's talk about... Do I want to get into that right now? Yes, I do. Okay. We're going to talk about Reagan at this time. So yeah, let's do it. Okay. You guys are probably familiar, if you've been watching these guys for a while, then... Oh, someone just said Piper was dating Hunter. No, Piper was not dating Hunter. Her mom was, Tiffany. Tiffany was. Yeah, not good. Okay, so let's talk about Reagan. So Reagan Beast is an influencer and an advocate, but he was friends with Hunter. Okay, following me? When Hunter started recording with Piper and being the brother, he made a comment and said to Reagan, we sometimes hook up. We sometimes hook up. He is now like 20 years old. Like, this is just, this woman is so gross. Like, I can't, guys, like, I can't. Anyway, so it comes out to people that Hunter and her are together. I don't know if at this time if Piper knew that they were together or not, but Hunter and Piper's mother, Tiffany, were in a relationship. So at this time, she starts getting Hunter, when this squad gets formed, to start filming everything. So Tiffany directs it and tells the kids what to do and what she wants to happen. And then Hunter makes it all happen. Like, Hunter's like, okay, do this in this position. Stand here for that. He records everything. He knows how everything works. Then he's editing everything. And he's running all of their YouTube channels. So they had to sign over all their YouTube channels to Hunter. He had control. And he's posting what he wants on their channels. Like, he's filming something and then posting it. And he'll say on Piper's channel, like, if you want to see part 2, go check out, I don't know, Sophie's YouTube channel. And so he's getting them all raking in the money, but they're getting it, right? Tiffany and not even Hunter, I wouldn't even say. Tiffany's getting the money. So she's building their accounts up, which gets them all more followers, which gets Piper more followers, and then they're rolling in the money. So they all gave their channels to Hunter willingly and excitedly. They thought, oh my God, our channels are going to blow up. Like, here you go. Sophie was uncomfortable at this time with Tiffany, and she felt that she was just unstable. Like, she just sensed something was going on. But Piper goes and asks Sophie's mom to move in with them. So they need to rent a house, basically, that's going to be big enough for all this filming. And they're making all this money now. So Tiffany decides to rent this house, and Piper asks Sophie's mom, like, why don't you guys come live with us? Like, she looked at Sophie's mom like she was another mom. And this is all coming from Sophie's mom, by the way. So Tiffany denies all of this, but we'll get into that as well. Now, they moved in. So Sophie's mom and Sophie move in with Tiffany and Piper, okay? And Hunter, unfortunately. These kids start filming 10 to 15 videos a day. So what ended up happening is they would wake up at 6 a.m. They would be homeschooled with this tutor because they had to do school. That's a rule, right? When you do this. So they would wake up at 6 a.m., have tutoring till like 10 or something, start filming for Tiffany at around 11 a.m. And they would literally go all day till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then try and get a couple hours sleep to wake up at 6 a.m. and do it all again. Like, it's not good. Like, it's bad. Like, this is what their life was, and it's horrid. They were worked to the bone. Something else that Sophie said was Tiffany's mom was obsessed with cats. I think she said when she started doing filming with Tiffany's, they had something like 11 cats. Tiffany started rescuing all these cats. They ended up having 36 cats in the house. 36 cats. And she said it was insane trying to keep up. Like they couldn't even lift the garbage bags out to the curb because of how much kitty litter was in there. But Tiffany's mom was also obsessed with YouTube and knew that everything had to look a certain way. So she was making these kids clean everything all hours of the day and night. So she was making them like wash down walls with bleach and like just cleaning everything because of all these cats, because for filming, it had to look good, right? Couldn't have cat hair everywhere and dirt and whatever else. So she was basically treating these kids like slaves as well. And the kids would get in trouble, and Sophie's mom would get in trouble if they didn't finish their jobs. So they were all like terrified. They didn't want her to take away this YouTube opportunity for them, right? They did anything Tiffany asked. Now, there was a bunch of rules at this point for kids. They had to go to school. They were supposed to, you know, if they were looking at the TV kind of world, then they had to have, you know, representation. They had to be paid a certain amount. They had to respect certain hours. Basically, at this time, YouTube had none of that. Like this filming for YouTube was new and there was no rules for the kids like that. Lots of states are implementing them now, but at this time, there wasn't really a lot. So these kids' parents had to be their main advocate. And unfortunately, they didn't really know what was going on. And they just wanted their kids to be happy and push their YouTube accounts, right? Like, just, it's sad, the kind of the way that it's going. But so no protections for them at all. So they're just having to do everything Tiffany said. Tiffany and Hunter basically thought that they were, you know, outside the law, that they could do whatever they want with these kids and nothing would happen to them. And that's basically what happened. That is basically what ended up taking place. So the kids start hating it. They start realizing we're not having fun anymore. Hunter's telling us every little thing to do. Put your hand here, do this, do that. Nothing was authentic anymore. Tiffany basically had been jumping on these trends and would film and get them to do whatever was cool at that time, like prank videos and just whatever was in. And eventually what gets in is crushes. She realizes that young kids love watching other kids have crushes, first kisses, flirting, like, and you know who else likes videos like that? Gross men. Gross, inappropriate men who like young children. That's who else likes this. And Tiffany knew that. So she started to want them to dress more provocative, less clothing, doing more risque things on camera, even though they were like 12 and 13 years old. They were just kids. She wanted them to start having these crushes. So she started recruiting like a boy for this girl or a girl for this guy. So Piper ended up getting paired up with Gavin, and she would give them hashtags. Like what was, I gotta remember what the hashtag was for Piper and Gavin. Piker, hashtag Piker. So she started pairing them all up. At this time as well, Tiffany started getting extremely inappropriate with Gavin. Now, Gavin is a super cute kid, really outgoing, really personable, you know, did a great job on the YouTube videos. And Tiffany, it appears, became like attracted to him, like so unhealthy and gross, but something went on and she started being really inappropriate with him. She started legit flirting with him, and like she's a grown-ass woman. And I don't think he really knew what was going on for a while. I'm sure he was feeling uncomfortable, but I don't think he realized what she was flirting, but people watching could see it. Like she would say things to him, like underlying sexual undertones with it and stuff, like just gross, like not stuff that we want. Why are you guys spamming the word Pavin? It's Gavin, is it not, with a G? Wait, what? Oh, are you talking, sorry. Are you talking about the hashtag? The ship name. Okay, they're talking about the ship name, like the relationship name. It wasn't hashtag Piker? Ah, thank you guys. Who is Piker then? Piker's when she's with Walker, so Piker was after. Thank you guys, thank you. Okay, Pavin, sorry, I was like, what? So Piper and Gavin were Pavin. We'll get into Piker then after. Thank you guys, I kept seeing it coming up and I was like, what are they spamming Pavin for? Thank you. Liper was legging Piper to, yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so, sorry, I squirreled there. Hold on, let me find where we were. Okay, so yeah, so she's totally inappropriate with Gavin, who is also her daughter's pretend boyfriend. And Gavin's trying to like brush it off. He doesn't quite know what to do with it. And basically, like one of the things she said to him, and I don't know if I can say it on here, but she said to him, "Do you have a BONER?" Like when she was talking about it, like, ew, like talking about his private parts. Like that's, ew. Anyway, just really gross stuff. And he obviously wasn't liking this. He was trying to brush it off, but it would have been making him feel so uncomfortable. And his parents, I'm sure, started to see some of this. But anyway, what ended up happening is he left. Like he was like, I can't take this anymore. And this is basically what ended up happening to this whole squad. We're going to go through this, but that's basically where it ended up going. So anyway, Corinne's mom was saying that every time Corinne came home from filming, she was crying. She was saying something happened that she didn't like there. She was exhausted. She was unhappy. She didn't like what they were being made to do when they were filming. She was miserable. So I'm going to put back on Corinne's picture just so you guys know who I mean here. Oh, hitting the wrong button. So here's Corinne. So Corinne was going home crying and her mom was like, "What's going on here?" So Corinne's the first one to leave. So Corinne's mom was like, "We're done." And Corinne was like, "Yep." So her mom pulls her from the squad and immediately Tiffany is like, no one's allowed to talk to her. She's out of the group, cancels her in the group chat. No one can speak to her anymore. She's done. She's like an outcast. So Corinne, who was friends with all these kids, like authentic, genuine friends, especially with Piper, is now an outcast and told no one can talk to her. So all of the rest of the kids in the squad, all of a sudden were completely terrified. They're like, we don't want this to happen to us. Like she's getting hate online because she left the group. Plus she's not allowed to talk to any of these friends anymore. Like it was just bad. And Corinne, remember guys, was like probably 12 at this time, 11 or 12 years old. Like it was a sin. So this also paves the way for the rest of the kids to now be scared to leave. So now they're all freaking out. So in 2017, a live happens, and we need to talk about this because I was so shocked in the documentary when this got aired. I legit had no words for this. Okay, so remember when I told you about Reagan Beast? So Reagan is an influencer and advocate, was friends with Hunter, and would do videos from time to time in Piper's videos. One night, Tiffany invites them over, and I believe this was, hold on, let me check. I can't remember what night this was, but it was in 2017 anyway. So Tiffany invites them over to do some filming and do a live and be silly on camera. And they're all, acting silly and having a great time. But Tiffany gave them all alcohol. So Tiffany's feeding them alcohol. They're kids. They cannot handle their liquor. This is all new and inappropriate. So they're all feeling really good, right? Including Tiffany. She's also drinking. So Tiffany decides she wants to get in this video. So she starts dancing around in the live as well. And out of the blue, I'm not going to show the video on here because it's so disturbing, but you guys can find it. It's all over online and it's in the documentary. But out of the blue, she gets all handsy with Reagan and had kind of been inappropriate before, like flirting and, rubbing shoulders and stuff. But she gets really handsy, like rubbing on him, loving on him. And Piper tells her to stop. Like Piper's uncomfortable. She's watching her mom do this and she's like, "Mom, knock it off." So her mom ends up kissing Reagan. And Reagan's 17 at this time. Reagan was 17 years old. Full on grabs his face and starts making out with him. And you can see he's like, oh my God, like he doesn't know what to do. Like pulled right back. Reagan's like, what is happening? Like not good. She's like making out with a 17-year-old. He kind of shoves her away and they're like, oh my God, trying to act like what's going on. And in his head, he's thinking, what the hell just happened? Like, and I believe at that point, Piper like almost like pulls the mom away, like sees it. And like I can't even imagine what is going through Piper's poor head at this time, like having a mother like this. But anyway, then she goes in and kisses him again. So she kisses him twice and they realize this is bad. Like this is bad. So they shut the camera off. They stop filming And she did it twice. Yeah, exactly. So they stopped filming and it's never talked about after that. But Reagan says they wake up in the morning and everything's gone. So before bed, it was blowing up. This video was seen by a ton of people. It was alive. Like I said, all these people were commenting like, this is disgusting. This woman just kissed a 17-year-old. Like, it was bad. It was going bad. So poor Reagan's like, my life's ruined. My YouTube channel's wrecked. My career's over. Wakes up in the morning. Everything's gone. Reagan says something happened. Hunter knew what to do or how to do it and ends up pulling the video, and it's never spoken about again. It's like gone in the ether, just lost in the internet world. So that was scary. Reagan was like, if they can do this with this video, what else can they do? So a lot of fear is being brought around in this, right? Like this is bad. So that's disgusting, but that takes place. So in 2019, people have now started to leave the squad. So we've got quite a few people backing out and leaving, but some of the OGs are still there. So we still have Piper, we still have Sawyer, we still have Sophie, and we still have Gavin. Gavin hasn't left yet. And introing Frank the pug. So there is a dog, Frank, a pug, who Tiffany decides she's going to voice. She's going to use this pug as kind of a catalyst for certain things to happen. So she isn't on camera, but the dog is, and you can tell she's holding the dog, and she makes the dog's arms move and stuff. It's ridiculous. But she makes Frank talk, and Frank ends up being an asshole, saying things that you shouldn't be saying to kids, being mean the way you shouldn't be to kids, and picking on certain people in the group more than others. And people are getting upset about it. So she uses Frank as this like alter ego to like stir up things, to cause trouble, to cause drama. She realizes this is all good for clicks and views, and this is how she's treating these kids. Sophie got it pretty bad too. Like, yeah, somebody just said Frank picked on Sophie. So I think personally, Tiffany was jealous of Sophie and didn't want Sophie taking over the spotlight from Piper. So I think she was trying to like knock Sophie down a peg by having Frank really at her. But anyway, this is what she did. They were making between $300,000 and $500,000. Let me just say that again. $300,000 and $500,000 a month on YouTube at the peak. At the peak of this girl's career, $300,000 to $500,000 on YouTube a month. They were rolling in it. Now, if you watch the documentary, Sophie's mom actually speaks out, as do a lot of the other mom from the 11 victims, I'm going to call them, that ended up suing Tiffany. But they speak out and they said they didn't see this money. This money was going to Tiffany. And Tiffany, eventually, these kids were making money on their own YouTube channels, which of course they got. But Tiffany was making them give her 10% of what they made, which is, for a manager or something, that is normal. Sometimes it's more than that even. So that part is normal, but it's all the rest that wasn't. So they didn't see money for a long time in this. But what wasn't okay was Tiffany, Piper's mom, was in complete control. And she would say to the kids, because brand deals are where you make your money on this, right? So she would say to the kids, just as an example, we got this brand deal with Target. If you wear this really short mini skirt that I like on the next episode, I'll give you the Target brand. You can have that brand deal. So she was hanging all these things over their heads like they're these little nuggets to work for. So like, if you, actually kiss this guy, I'll give you this, or I'll do this, or you'll be on the thumbnail for the YouTube video, which will get you more views and follows. So this is what she was using and hanging over these kids' head. It was not fair. It was not equally distributed. It was, if you do something for me, I'll give you something back. If you make Piper look good, I'll make you look good. So there was a bunch of, stuff like that taking place. Not good. Like, not good at all. Now, around this point, Tiffany was basically ripping off the trends. Like I said, she was doing all these prank videos and they were getting really, really awful. She was actually pranking the kids without telling them it was a prank and having kids cry, having them hurt, having them freak out. Like, she didn't care. I'm sure these kids probably have PTSD from some of these pranks, to be honest. But a lot of the kids were getting upset now. Like, they weren't happy. This was not fun times for these kids anymore. They were loving the fame, when it was happening, but now it's not fun anymore. Like things are getting scary, things are getting inappropriate, and they're not liking it. So at this point, she ends up recruiting some more people. So she gets Indy. Indy was one of the people that she recruited as Sawyer's crush. So remember I said she was like ripping off all these trends and crushes were big at this time. So she wanted everyone in the squad to have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So she recruits Indy as Sawyer's crush around this time. And Sawyer says like it was extremely awkward and embarrassing because they were kids and they had to pretend on camera that they were boyfriend and girlfriend when they're not. And whether one person liked the other at certain points or not, it's still really awkward. They're making them touch each other in certain ways. Like it's just inappropriate. They're kids, like they're kids. So Walker gets recruited around this time as well. And before Walker gets recruited, Gavin leaves. So Gavin is the young boy that I told you about that Piper's mom was inappropriate with, that she was like flirting with and making gross comments to, and, you know, just making uncomfortable. So Gavin leaves because his parents pull him out. And when he speaks about it, he says that he left because it was a toxic environment. Like he acknowledges how bad it was. And his parents were like, we're getting you out of here. This is bad. And, oh, thanks, Poppy. Yes, guys, the documentary that I keep referring to is on Netflix. It's called Bad Influence, The Dark Side of Kid Fluencing. So anyway, Gavin leaves around this time and his parents pull him out. He immediately gets cut off from the group like everyone else. There's a message that goes out and they're like, no one's allowed to talk to Gavin. It's all from Tiffany. She's like, he's blacklisted. But she has to recruit people now because now Piper doesn't have a boyfriend on camera, right? Another fake boyfriend. So she ends up recruiting Walker at this point, who is 13 years old at this time. And Piper's account reaches out to him, which is Tiffany, and says, like, would you like to come start filming with us? And Walker's mom was like, what a great opportunity. Like, this is what he likes. He does his YouTube channel. So he joins and he becomes Piper's new boyfriend. This is where Piker comes in, right, guys? Walker and Piper. There we go. Now it's Piker. So Piper now has a new boyfriend. So Gavin had to be replaced. Cue Walker. Now Walker is the boyfriend. And hold on, let me see if I have a picture. I don't think I have a good one of Walker. I'll just put this one up for a bit. Just one of the group, some of the kids. Okay, so Walker's now in, but it's not enough. Like, she wants a legit squad. She can't have 4 people, right? So she ends up recruiting some more people. So at this point, she recruits Hayden. She recruits Lev. For some reason, I've heard people say Leave, but I'm pretty sure it's Lev. Let me know in the comments, guys. I've heard Lev whenever I watch his videos. And Jensen. So she recruits those 3 boys, and Sophie gets paired up with Jensen. So Jensen is now Sophie's boyfriend, and they do the hashtag Jofi. So Jofi and... Did somebody just say with a U? It's Lev, not Leave. Yeah. Okay, thank you, guys. L-E-V, Lev. Thank you. So we've got Jofi now. So things are carrying on, all the fake relationships and stuff, but Jensen and Sophie actually connect. So now they're like, 13 years old, which is still too young in my opinion, but they actually start liking each other and become real life boyfriend and girlfriend. They actually started, like, I don't know if you call it dating at that age or what, but they started being boyfriend and girlfriend. At this point, July has now approached of 2019, and Jensen's mom ends up really not having a good feeling about any of this. She's like, okay, what's going on with this? Like, this is not a good feeling. The videos are getting inappropriate. I don't like the roles Jensen's playing. She was asking the kids, Tiffany was, when they were going to be able to do more on camera. Like, when are you guys going to be comfortable doing more than just kissing? Stuff like that. Like, it was not good. So at this point, Jensen's mom is considering pulling him out. He doesn't want to leave, but she's thinking, I don't want to handle this anymore. And again, they're giving like 10% of their earnings from their own YouTube channels to Tiffany. So she doesn't want any of them to leave. Like, she's making big money off all these people. She decides who get the deals and who doesn't. And at this point, Sophie's mom, who's living with Tiffany and Piper, is buying and choosing all of the clothes. Well, she gets fired from this because she's not getting clothes that are risque enough. So Tiffany starts getting the clothes herself, and they're getting skimpier and skimpier, and Sophie's mom's not allowed to do this anymore. Tiffany wanted them basically like sluttier, if I'm being real. So her friend who was doing the thumbnails and editing would change the thumbnails so that the young girls would have bigger boobs or a bigger bum or a more low-cut top. Like, she was tweaking things so that people would click on the videos more. Like, not appropriate. Again, there were all these inappropriate people watching these videos. I told you about Megan. So this is a man who was posing online as a little girl, and Tiffany knew this, and he would send all of this stuff to Piper, like boxes and boxes of presents and toys and electronics and whatever she wanted, she got from this Megan. And Tiffany knew what was going on, and she was like encouraging Sophie to do things so that Sophie could get a Megan. Like, just gross, you guys. Now, this is all alleged because Tiffany denies all of this, but we'll get to that in a sec. Basically, she was telling people that he was a pervert. She knew that he was this pervert, and he would call her. He would FaceTime, like he would ask for photos and stuff, and Tiffany was doing this. Allegedly, she was also sending Piper's underwear in the mail to some of these men for money. Anyway, at this point, we've got a lot going on, like a lot happening. The parents are starting to notice things. Things are starting to get really weird. People are bailing and pulling out, and then COVID hits. 2020, guys, if you have children or if you were young yourself in 2020 and on electronics, you know what I'm talking about. Our kids basically didn't leave their rooms. Like, if it wasn't, you kicking them out to get some exercise, they couldn't see their friends. They couldn't hang out. They weren't going to school at times. They had no social life except for online. So all they were doing was watching YouTube and TikTok and, Insta and Snapchat and all this stuff. So everything on YouTube was skyrocketing, including Piper and her squad. Everybody was watching it. Everybody knew who they were. All these young kids were invested and into it because they had nothing to do. So seeing these kids during COVID hang out and do stuff was huge for them. And Piper's trapped as well at this time in her house with this squad and stuff. So all they have to do is film videos. So that's what they're doing. Like, all day, every day is videos. Like, just popping out the content, right? Tiffany was loving this. Connor joins at this time. Right around this time, Connor joins the squad as well. Claire joins as well. So Claire's family, which is Tiffany's sister Patience, her wife, and the two daughters, they decide it's COVID. We have nothing to do. Let's move to LA and be with Piper. Because Claire wanted to be in the squad. They wanted to help her with this dream. They didn't know what was going on behind camera, so that's what they do. They end up packing up, they leave Georgia, and they move to LA. So Claire joins the squad around the same time that Connor does. And she ends up being in all these videos and stuff as well. And the kids all get super close, like more close than they were because of COVID. They're together constantly. So this is where, things get really sad, in my opinion. Like, they connected these bonds that end up getting so trashed and so broken because of Tiffany and what she was doing. But these kids are like family at this point. Like, anyway, they're spending more time together than their family. We also see Aiden join up at this time. Aiden was he 15 when he joined? Yes, Aiden's 15 when he joins. They're all around that age. Aiden joins, and Tiffany makes Aiden Claire's crush. So like I said, they all had to have these crushes. They all had to have these, significant others because it was good video for everybody. So Claire's crush becomes Aiden. In one video, you will see in the documentary, Claire and Aiden are doing like a prank, and it's, doing things to each other until you cross a line where the other one can't do it back. And what Aiden's told to do is take off his shirt. So Claire's standing there like, with her shirt, and Tiffany wants her to like lift it up, and Claire won't. And so she's like, no. So the video's over. Aiden wins this, challenge or whatever. And Claire says, for the thumbnail, Tiffany wants a picture of Claire with her lifting her shirt up a bit. And she did it. Like, she doesn't know any better. She's like a, 15-year-old kid at this time, 14-year-old kid. So she does it. She picks her shirt up, and that's the thumbnail that they used to get clicks and views, is her lifting her shirt up so you can see. Now, Tiffany wanted her to show her bra. I couldn't tell in the thumbnail if you could actually see her bra, but you could definitely see her whole side. Like, it's totally inappropriate for what was going on. But she does it. Like, she doesn't know any better at this age, and she's wanting Tiffany to like her and give her, all the roles and stuff. So yeah, so she does it. Now the pranks are getting bad at this point. Somebody gets a broken leg at one point. Lev is arrested and doesn't know what's going on. He thinks it's real, or the kids think it's real. We've got kids crying at this point because of it. They're terrified. It's all being recorded. It's all for show. It's all Tiffany. She doesn't care about their feelings. She cares about getting views, and that's all she cares about. Around this time, Jensen's mom confronts Tiffany, and she's like, this isn't okay. Tiffany freaks out, and she kicks him out. She's like, get out, Jensen. Like, we're done here. She convinces, so Jensen and Walker's moms at this point were like, this is getting crazy. Tiffany's not letting the parents anymore in the house when they're recording. So the parents aren't allowed to see what's going on. It was just, things were getting really sketchy. So Jensen's mom and Walker's mom are like, we need to get out. But they want to do it in a way that Jensen and Walker get as little hate and backlash as possible. So unfortunately, what ends up happening, according to Jensen's mom, is they try and get Jensen's dad to do the talking for them. So they're like, we need you, your mutual ground. You can handle this better without emotion. You need to tell her this is not okay, and we're pulling the kids. So he goes in to talk to her. Tiffany convinces him everything is fine. The wives are crazy, and he lets Jensen stay. So Jensen now is staying and filming. He's pissed at his mom now for trying to like pull him out and off the squad. The dad is all about this now and like supporting and being, all invested in this. And he basically is now, they're like bad mouthing Jensen's mom. So Jensen's mom gets ostracized from her own family. So she has not seen Jensen. He won't speak to her. He's still doing all this filming. She is like lost. She doesn't know what to do. She knows what's happening and she can't stop it. So she's like devastated about this. In April of 2020, Child Protective Services actually gets called and goes to check up on the kids and the squad that are filming. And Tiffany's like, you say this, you do that, you clean this, you wear this. And they all did. And they completely lied to Child Protective Services and nothing came of it. So she didn't get in any trouble. And at that time, Tiffany's telling Sophie and Piper, what to say and how to say it. And the kids didn't share or talk to each other about Tiffany because they didn't know who to trust and who was talking to who. And they didn't want to get in trouble with Tiffany. So nobody's sharing how they're feeling with anybody else. They're just going on and doing this because they're scared. They don't know what's happening. At one point, Sophie's phone gets stolen or lost mysteriously, and she has to get a new phone. So Tiffany makes a new account and reads all of Sophie's text messages. And according to Sophie's mom, one of the text messages that were in there was Sophie texting her mom, and she says, I wish we could adopt Piper and leave. And her mom responds and says, me too, kid. So as you can imagine, Tiffany blows up and punishes Soph for this. So she's like, you're not going to be able to film for at least 2 weeks. You're not getting any brand deals. You're this, you're that. Like, she's like grounding her or whatever's going on. And Sophie's mom at this point alleges that she said basically F you to Tiffany because Tiffany apparently goes to Sophie's mom and says, the only way Sophie's going to be allowed to refilm with us now is if you give up your parental rights and sign it over to me. And Sophie's mom was like, hell no, I'm not doing it. We're out. So this is when she finally decides to leave. So she gets everything, packs up and leaves. Sophie's devastated for leaving Piper. Sophie's mom is devastated for leaving Piper. They want to take Piper with them, but of course you can't. And Piper probably wouldn't want to go anyway. She's like brainwashed by this. It's her mom. So they're super upset about this, but there's nothing else they can do. So they end up leaving. They're kicked out of the group chat, just like everyone else. No one's allowed to speak to them. And her boyfriend, Sophie's boyfriend at the time, which was actually real, Jensen, isn't allowed to talk to her. So he cuts her completely out of his life. And in no time, Tiffany recruits another squad member who at this point is Eliana, who's 13. And she now becomes Jensen's girlfriend. Hashtag Jilliana. And Sophie, of course, is begging to go back. She wants her life back. She wants her friends back. And her mom won't let her. So just devastating for these kids, what's happening. Now, in March of 2021, Sawyer, who was an OG squad member as well, finally gets fed up and leaves. He basically said it just wasn't fun anymore. He wasn't getting to post his own content. He was being directed with everything, working constantly. He just had enough. So he actually chose to leave himself. His parents didn't pull him, apparently. He left. In June, Claire stands up to Tiffany, who's her step-aunt, I guess we'll say. Claire stands up to Tiffany and gets told off. Tiffany called her like a spoiled brat or a spoiled bitch or something like that. A disrespectful little bitch. And Hunter calls Claire's mom frantic about this, and Claire's immediately pulled from the squad. So Claire's mom was like, oh, hell no, you're not talking to my daughter like that. We're out. So Claire leaves. So people are dropping like flies from this squad, right? Like it's bad. At this time, Jensen's mom files for divorce from Jensen's dad because they were still married. It's the only thing she can think to do because she wants to get custody of Jensen so she can get him out of this squad, this cult, if you want to call it that. He wouldn't even speak to her at this point. He wanted nothing to do with her. He didn't want her to get custody. And she ends up finding out that Tiffany goes to the home she used to live in with her family, with Jensen and her husband, and Tiffany gets him to film an episode in the family home, going around showing everything to his new girlfriend, and the camera pans out, and there is Tiffany, Piper's mom, sitting at the dining room table, sitting at Jensen's mom's dining room table, and just completely making a point that I own your kid, and now I'm in your home. Like, just a slap in the face for Jensen's mom, as you guys can imagine. So at this time, everyone's leaving the squad. People online are noticing, but there's not really hate towards Piper. There's more like, why are these people leaving the squad, right? Like it's not good. But Piper decides at this time, or Tiffany decides, I should say, to get Piper to make a video about all the squad members leaving, and she unfollows them all on camera. So she's on there and she's like, yeah, Sophie wasn't really, a good friend, was this, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, unfollow. And then goes to the next one. Claire, unfortunate because she's family, but, yada, 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 unfollow. So she makes this whole video. And as soon as that happens, all the hate starts. So all of these poor kids that left the squad for all these reasons end up getting all this online hate, being called two-faced, being called bad friends, losing all these followers, and the parents are starting to notice that the follower count is dropping more than it should. Now, they have all kicked Hunter off of their accounts, changed passwords, but it may have been too late. They don't know what exactly was going on, but he was able to do something that ended up dumping like hundreds of followers a day, and basically the people that they hired to look into this were saying like, there's something going on. Like he was able to do this. Somehow this is not like authentic follower loss. Like something was up. So there's, like I said, horrible hate. All this stuff is going on. So the parents finally in 2022 decide to file a civil lawsuit. They want their story out. And this is the best way to get someone's story out is to sue someone because then everyone's talking about it, right? So they decide they're going to sue Tiffany, Piper's mom. So they file a civil lawsuit against Tiffany and Hunter Hill, which is her young boyfriend, who in my opinion was groomed just as much. But anyway, there's 11 kids in the lawsuit. So the 11 kids that are in the lawsuit, along with their families, are Sawyer, is it Donlad or Dorlad? Guys, I don't know. I didn't know who this was. Aiden, Connor, Hayden, Walker, Sophie, Corinne, Simone, Claire, and Reese. They're all in this lawsuit and they all want their story told. So they start going in and talking about what happened to them in their meetings with their lawyers and the police and whoever else. And all of this other stuff start coming out. So they soon realize that it's not just the YouTube drama that was taking place. There was a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that was happening. So here's kind of the stuff that gets really gross. So heads up, we're getting into the thick of it right now, guys. So around this time, we have got their YouTube channels being sabotaged. The kids have left the squad. 11 kids are now being able to tell their story to someone, and it's a legal team. And Tiffany's now being accused because of what they've told the lawyers of physical, emotional, verbal, sexual, and financial exploitation. And yes, I said sexual. In March of 2024, discovery takes place for court. Discovery is when you go in, you're with the lawyers, you get asked all these questions, and on the record, you have to tell your case. You got to plead what happens, right? You got to tell everything that's going on. So in discovery, they start finding out what happened to all of these kids, and the kids start finding out what happened to the kids because they, like I said, weren't talking to each other. They weren't sharing what was going on. So they find out that there was a ton of abuse happening behind scenes. They know about the emotional abuse, but they start learning more. And they start learning that there was actually sexual situations happening as well in the home with Tiffany. Corinne, at this point, who is just a young girl at this time, is asked by Tiffany about BJs. And she's 11 years old. Just insinuating sexual things, talking about sexual content, completely inappropriate stuff with these kids, treating them like they're adults, like they're her buddies, and talking about horrid stuff that is way over their level, way past where they should be, mentally and physically learning about. She said that she was going to show her about BJ's on Hunter. And she's laughing about it, and they're laughing about it, but Corinne's not laughing about it. She's like, what the heck is happening? What's going on here? Totally scary. These are the adults in the room, and this is what's going on. Piper told her to stop. Piper seems to be mothering her own mother all the time during these situations. She's constantly having to correct her mother and tell her to stop being inappropriate. I feel sick for Piper. She was 11 years old at this time, by the way. This was 11 when this BJ stuff was being talked about with Piper right there. So probably the most disturbing thing that came out of the documentary was Tiffany had this voice she did, and she called it Lenny. And Lenny was this character she would play, and it was a cat that she had that died. This cat that she loved that ended up dying was Lenny. She would pretend she was Lenny and do all these inappropriate things to the kids. So it was like her vent for sexual thoughts. This is what she would do to the kids and be like, oh, it was Lenny. Oh, Lenny did that. Oh, Lenny said that. One morning, she ends up pinning Piper and Claire down in the bed when they woke up. They had been sleeping in the same bed. She pins them down, laying on top of them, and she is touching them and groping them, and she ends up doing that spit thing over Claire where you spit and then suck it up at the last minute. And Claire said her arms were pinned down and she was being groped, and she ends up being able to pull the covers up eventually, and the spit lands on the covers. This woman almost spit in her face, and she's doing the Lenny voice and saying this is all Lenny when Claire's having this happen. Reese ended up bringing something to Tiffany one morning in her bedroom, and Tiffany grabs her, and in Lenny's voice she says, Tiffany grabs her and she freaks out. Reese is like, oh my God. And she runs into the bathroom and slams the door. And at this point, she hears Tiffany in Lenny's voice call out and says, I have my pants down, want to come look. Reese is horrified, but she wants out of there and she doesn't know what to do. So she waits a little while, then she covers her eyes and she runs out. Tiffany grabs her and holds her down on the bed and starts like patting her down, like groping her with still Lenny's voice, and basically like assaults her. And finally Reese can get up and she runs away. And Reese was way younger than the rest of these girls though. Like, I don't know how old Reese would have been at this time, but like it's awful. Sophie says that she was also assaulted this way a lot. And she says Claire and Reese were too. She says the three of them were kind of the main ones that seemed to get the brunt of Lenny and this inappropriate behavior from Tiffany, allegedly. And she says that basically Tiffany's hands were just always all over her, like just gross. Anyway, Claire saw her do these things to Piper as well. So Piper may have been her daughter, but this was happening to Piper as well. Like, her mom was just extremely inappropriate to all these girls, but Lenny was doing it, right? Like her pseudo personality. The parents basically considered this like a cult. So what they ended up doing when they sued her civilly, this is what they went after. They said, I think there was 11 counts, 10 counts. So here's the counts. 1, violation of the California Civil Code. So a lot of this, oh, sorry, I just got an invite there. Sorry, guys. A lot of this was like for child labor laws and stuff like that. Number 2, violation of common law right of publicity. 3, unjust enrichment. 4, intentional interference with contractual relations. 5, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage, messing with their YouTube channels. 6, civil conspiracy. 7, sexual battery. 8, battery. 9, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And 10, violations of California Business and Professional Code. This was in 2022. They are going through this discovery. They're doing all this stuff. Allegedly, around this time, Tiffany tries to countersue. And for something like $30 million, but she quickly drops it. She tries to like make herself look good and be like, this had never happened. I didn't do any of this, and tries to countersue, but it's not going anywhere. In November of 2023, Hunter has his deposition. He says, Tiffany's great. She's awesome. I've never experienced any of this. She's fantastic. No verbal abuse. We're in a relationship. We're awesome. She's the best boss I've ever had. Best person I've ever worked with. Lied through his teeth. Piper puts out a video defending her mom after the lawsuit. And the lawsuit ended in June of 2024 in a settlement. I think that's why we finally had the Netflix documentary. But in June of 2024, the settlement that they got was almost $2 million, but all 11 of them had to split it. But Tiffany settled. And that's kind of what they wanted. They wanted the story out. It wasn't about the money, they said. They just wanted the story told, and it was. And now it's continuing to be told, like with this new documentary. So Piper puts out a statement after this and basically says, you know, I'm so sad this happened. These people were supposed to be my friends. These things are lies. You know, one day I may tell my story, yada, yada, yada. Because she's just as brainwashed, unfortunately, as the rest of them. And YouTube demonetizes their account. So Piper's account, no more money from YouTube. They made a statement in the documentary and basically said, we don't stand behind any of these types of accusations. When this happens, we shut it down. And they did. They demonetized her account. She was making, like I said, in her peak time, she was making $300,000 to $500,000 a month on YouTube. Like that's insane. So they get demonetized. Brand deals start leaving. Things start falling apart. She moves to Snapchat and this Brand Army app, which I've never been on and have no interest in going, where young kids can post content, but young kids can't join and watch the content. So only 18 and over, which means adults are watching Piper's content. Like, how does that work? This just doesn't sound right. It's basically like an OF account, but apparently without the nudity, just inappropriate stuff. 13 to post, but 18 to watch. Doesn't make much sense, does it? So the videos Piper has been posting now, she continues to post. If you look her up on TikTok here, posts every day, multiple times, got a new boyfriend, Capri. I don't think it's real. And I know people are like, no, it's a beautiful relationship. Is it? Not one of these past relationships was real. What makes us think that Capri is? I don't believe it. I think it's just another influencer who gets brought on and Tiffany recruited him. That's my opinion. But anyway, so she's got a new boyfriend, Capri, posting all these videos, and they are inappropriate. The girl is 17 years old, and Tiffany is getting her to do like bathing suits, bikinis, dresses with great big slits up to her, girlyhood, like inappropriate outfits, inappropriate content, you name it. That's what she's posting. Tiffany even got her, I think it was in February, got her to go to the Bop House. If you don't know what the Bop House is, it is a house where young women are filming OF channels. And they run a TikTok account and things like that and post like funny memes and videos and stuff like that. But they're posting OF content and making a ton of money doing it. And they're extremely popular. And they're beautiful, funny young girls. Well, Tiffany knows where she's going with Piper. And I personally think she is prepping her to start when she's 18 to post this kind of content. That's my guess. I think we're going to see an OF account for Piper. But in February, Tiffany sends her to the Bop House to make content. So she makes a bunch of videos at the Bop House with the Bop girls, and there's a lot of controversy over it. A lot of people are like, this is inappropriate. Why would her mother let her here? Stuff like that. Then this documentary comes out, and we all know why it happened. And in my opinion, Piper is loving it, but loving it because she's raised in this. This is all she knows. This is her childhood. This is her mom. Like, I don't think she even knows that it's wrong. I think she loves the attention and she's been raised on it. She doesn't know what to do without it. So whether we see her come forward and be honest and tell her story, I don't think so. I think she is going to come forward at some time and tell a story, but I don't think it's going to be truthful. I think she's going to defend her mom any way she can, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. Okay, I'm coming, guys, to your comments because I haven't been able to see anything. I've been chatting this whole time. Did you mention Tiffany's lash out over Manny? Yes, I did. Yeah. Piper thinks it's normal, unfortunately. Exactly. Charmic Fruit says, who is that? Guys, if you missed the live, if you're just joining, I will upload this live to my YouTube channel. So you can go follow there and just hit the subscribe bell. And I will upload all this so you guys can see it. So my YouTube channel is The Recap with Julie, or you can just click my name and there's a link in my bio here for you to just click and you can go to it. Have you looked into their pet situation? Oh, like that, the tons and tons of cats, you mean? Yeah, not good. How? Capri is just a distraction from the documentary. Yeah. Did you see that the Bop House called Piper their new member? I saw a lot of the content. I don't know if I watched that one or not, but yeah, I saw a bunch of the videos. I don't know, but did you talk about her saying weird stuff to Gavin and stuff? Yes, I did. And if you missed this as well, I did post a full recap of the whole situation. It's on my YouTube channel as well as here on TikTok if you want to go check it. But definitely go follow my YouTube channel because I will post this and all my lives on there. What happened with Lev and Jensen and Emily and Eliana? So a lot of them are still involved. Like a lot of them are still filming with her, unfortunately. And some have left and are doing their own filming of their own YouTube channels and things. But the majority of the 11 that sued stopped doing YouTube for quite some time. Like they were traumatized, in my opinion. Maybe put the documentary photo back up for people. Oh, yes. Here, I'll do that. Oop, wrong one. Hold on. This guy. So this is what we're talking about, guys. This is the documentary. Did you see Lev's Instagram story with paragraphs Piper had sent to him? No, I think I bookmarked it, but I haven't watched it yet. There's been so much happening, guys. It's really hard to keep up with everything right now because everything is like just happening, but I'm going to try and make some posts over the next little bit. So just make sure you hit follow. I'll try and get everything. Some people are confused on Megan. Can you explain? Yes. So guys, Megan was a man. Megan is probably some middle-aged man pervert who is inappropriate with children. He was obsessed with Piper and her squad. He tried to reach out to, I think it was Sophie as well. And Sophie was like, hell no. But Tiffany would send pictures and get Piper to call him, and like anything he wanted, Tiffany would set up for him because he bought Piper whatever she wanted. She wanted an iPad, the latest iPhone, whatever she wanted, he got for her. And I think she was 13 when Megan was started. Like, gross. And Tiffany apparently was sending Piper's underwear in the mail to men that paid for it. We need to get together and talk about, the Valo trial. I know, Jonas, seriously. What a gong show that is. Did you see the things that Jensen, said about his mom stealing his money? Yes, and I'm going to do a post on that as well. I've saved a bunch of that. I will do an update, hopefully tomorrow. Are you one of the kids' moms? How come I can't be one of the kids? Why do you think I'm old enough to be a mom? Couldn't I be 15? No, I'm not. No, I am just I don't even know what I am, guys. What a researcher? I don't know. I post content and dig into things, and everybody was asking me to look into Piper Rockelle. So I watched the documentary and then did a bunch of research and dug into her history and just telling you guys what I learned. How do you know everything about them in the situation? I just answered. Sorry. I just read your message late. Do you think the house is real? The house that they're filming in, you mean? I think they rent it. Is that what you mean? Half of the people from the documentary don't even talk to her anymore. No, they've all left the squad. Like, they all pulled out. If it was one or two people, guys, I could totally see it just being like, oh, there's bad blood. You know, these things may not have happened. When you have 11 kids that all leave this squad and start telling their stories and suing them, you know it's all legit. You know this all happened, even though Tiffany's denying it. I feel so bad for them. I know. Did you talk about Frankie? Yes, I did. I had to think. Did I talk about Frank? Yeah, Frank the pug, guys. We talked about that. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you to my mods for keeping it sane in here, as always. Make sure if you haven't, you subscribe, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow.